Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hey, today we're going to be diving into a bottle I've tasted many times but never purchased. So this is my first time actually buying a bottle of Elijah Craig 18 year, and it was sort of a a crime of passion. It was sort of a crime of opportunity. Let's call it that. I was at a Meijer that I never go to because they never have anything good. I happened to be walking in there because I had to go to a store nearby, so I was like, I'll just stop in and see what they got. And sure enough, in their barrel pick area where they have like the barrels with their picks on top of it, on top of one of those barrels, in its own little thing, just sitting by itself, was one bottle of Elijah Craig 18 year. You know, sometimes you're lucky. You know, opportunity just reaches out and strikes you, and you got to decide in the moment, am I doing this? And I was like, you know what? I think I'm doing this. So there we go. I purchased it. The question is this bottle worth the hunt? Because these are not overly common. They come out in waves every now and then. You got to be sort of tuned into your local bourbon groups to know when they're going to be available, and you just have to be in the right place at the right time. And as per usual, on the secondary market, these bottles will go from anywhere between $250 to $300. I see one website here that has it listed for $350. So I'll tell you this before tasting it, I highly doubt this bottle will ever be worth that much money. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I have had pours of Elijah Craig 18 years several times. I just never owned my own bottle. And it's always struck me as something that was really good, but there was nothing about it that was like, wow, that's super innovative or different. It just tasted like a really good Elijah Craig pour. Elijah Craig already has like their barrel proof series, which is fantastic. You know, the C923 batch is out there right now for you to grab, which is getting rave reviews. I've historically been a big fan of their barrel proof series, so I've never felt the need to like go above and beyond with the Elijah Craig name brand itself from Heaven Hill and push it into the 18 year in terms of owning my own bottle. But like I said, I saw it for $150, which is MSRP, so I bought it. Bam. Let's try it. I do really like the bottle itself. It's got a lot of the things that you see on other Elijah Craig bottles, but the shape is different. More rounded on the corners, you see what I'm saying? And I like that. It makes it, it's familiar enough to be noticeable as an Elijah Craig product, but different enough to make you think, hey, that must be different. That must be special. So no gimmicks here. This is just an 18-year-old single barrel of Elijah Craig bourbon. No tricks, no gimmicks, no nothing like that. Just a really old barrel of Elijah Craig. And there she is. The one thing I will note, and this is one of the things that has kept me from purchasing this bottle before, is that this comes in at 90 proof. I tend to, especially with Elijah Craig, I don't really care for the small batch, bottom shelf stuff. And a big part of that is the proof point. It just tastes really young and unimpressive, and it doesn't last long. So I really am not a big fan of the small batch. I like the barrel proof because you get that heavier proof point, which I think allows some of those bigger, bolder, richer flavors that the Elijah Craig product provides really shine through. So the fact that this comes in at 90 proof has always been sort of a question mark for me. Like, why would you do that? 18-year-old barrel, I don't know. But it could have something to do with the fact that in Kentucky, especially with bourbon in these barrels in Kentucky, when you let them last that long in a warehouse, eventually age and quality are no longer going on the same trajectory, on an upward incline. So the older it gets, the better it gets. Eventually in Kentucky, hot summers and cold winters, that whiskey has made so many trips in and out of that barrel, and you've given up so much of your whiskey to evaporative loss that you're ending up with a product that gets more syrupy and bitter over time. And so you don't want them to last too long. Eventually, you come to a point where I got to get this stuff out of the barrel before it ruins the juice. So that could be a factor. Another factor could be the investment cost. Maybe they're saying, hey, we didn't make any money off of this whiskey for 18 years. Now, let's proof it down so we can make it last into more bottles. I don't know what the choice process there looks like. So we'll see. It could be we need to offset some of the flavors that are undesirable over time. We need to proof those out. Or it could be a thing where you want to make your 18-year-old barrel last longer and become more bottles that you can sell, so you dilute it more. I don't know. But I will say at 90 proof, it is actually fairly viscous. It's you can probably see that there. There's ring of, let me put it over here. So you can, yeah, you see those runs coming down the side of the glass there? Yeah. I mean, it's fairly viscous. Let's nose it. I mean, it smells like Elijah Craig. It smells like vanilla and oak and orange zest. Somewhat oily. The only thing that's different from your standard Elijah Craig offerings is that it has a lot more of that barrel funk note because it was in a barrel for 18 years in a warehouse. And a faint hint of cinnamon spice. But a lot of that vanilla and orange front and center, and plenty of oak. Smells good. Let's try it. A little bit peppery up front, and then it transitions into just a ton of vanilla. And when I say a ton, I mean a ton of vanilla. Like you take that little bottle of concentrated vanilla stuff out of the pantry and you take the lid off of that and your little squeezy bottle, you can smell it. Oh man, it's a lot of vanilla. That's not a bad thing. It's like vanilla pudding. That's what I was, like those little vanilla pudding snack packs. That's what this tastes like. That orange zest right along in there. And it's just a constant steady oak. But I think because it's been proofed down, it's not a lot of oak that slaps you in the face. It's just sort of the note that kind of supports everything else, holds everything else up from start to finish. But a disappointingly short finish on this. I wish more of that oak and vanilla would hang on a little bit longer and be drawn out over time. But I think since it's been proofed down to 90, that finish does not hang on for very long at all. The finish that I do get reminds me of those circus peanut candies though, but it doesn't last long. So I gotta give this thing a rating per my scale. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm a big fan of, I've got a lot of Elijah Craig on my shelf. I like a lot of Elijah Craig products, especially the barrel proof stuff, a lot of the private barrels. I really like what Elijah Craig brings to the table in terms of flavor profiles, but at that higher proof. And for me, this loses a lot of that because it's just 90 proof. The flavors that are in there are really good, but it's nothing that is innovative or pushing the envelope in any capacity. It just tastes like a good old whiskey. But at $150, I kind of want it to stick around a while longer in my mouth so I can get more bang for my buck. So because of that, I think I'm gonna give the Elijah Craig 18 year a 7.2. I should mention mine came from barrel 6224, 6,224. But all in all, the initial impression you get from it is good, but it's not a lasting impression. So because of that, I have to say that's really good. And I don't know that I could justify spending $150 on a full bottle of this when the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof series is out there and not, no two batches are identical. So it's always a different experience. And they're usually, not all the time, but they're usually really good. I think, for example, I still have a little bit left of C922 from last year. And I think that beats the pants off the 18 year easily. It's good, but a little disappointing for the price tag and for the age. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate you, especially if you're one of our Patreon supporters. Say thank you very much because you are the reason that I can afford to invest in these bottles, review them, and give you my honest thoughts. So I really appreciate that. If you want to get involved in the Patreon, we do cool things. Like I just today went to the UPS store and shipped out a ton of boxes that I hand packaged myself. I bottled up samples for you guys of 3 different whiskeys that we are going to do a virtual tasting together on, so me and my Patreon supporters. So if you're one of those people, you should be getting your package between now and Tuesday of next week. So in plenty of time for us to do our tasting together. So that tasting is Wednesday, November 1st. So everyone should get their packages by then. If for some reason, they're delayed and if you don't get yours in time for the tasting, make sure you reach out and let me know. We can try to see if that happens. It shouldn't happen because they're guaranteed. But if that happens, then we can probably shuffle around the date and delay it a couple of days, and we'll just have to talk to everybody and make sure we find a time that everyone can do it on. Otherwise, we'll stick with the same date. But I'm excited to try these 3 bottles with y'all. Some Michigan ones. We got a toasted barrel that we're going to be checking out, a single barrel high proof rye, and a single barrel high proof bourbon, all from Michigan that are stellar bottles. So looking forward to doing that. So if you want to get involved in stuff like that, hey, check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description. We also have a Discord where we chat about whiskey and just kind of hang out and have some camaraderie as whiskey enthusiasts together. Whether you are an enthusiast or a novice, it doesn't matter. We just like hanging out and talking about booze, so it's all good. So check that out too. The link to the Discord group is also in the description. Cheers! May you live richly and get better with age. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.